Hey guys, a little bit of different intro this week. I wanted to thank everybody for the support that I've had recently. Me and my wife have bought in a house, as you can see in the background. I'm in a new empty room. We literally just moved in today. I am completely exhausted and sweaty and gross, but I wanted to get this video out to you guys. So hope you guys enjoy, and thank you again for all the support you guys give me. Really appreciate it. Drop timings for the week is generally kind of drop in whenever you want. If you're not going for the full sweat, it doesn't really matter too much where he's located in the fight, because you can just teleport to him if he's too far away. If he's close, you can just start striking away at him. The sweat strategy is pretty much drop immediately right after potioning, and then either teleport to him or just run up to him and start striking away at him, because you should be close enough.
Yeah, if you go in, most times he's gonna start the spin, and if you're okay with the spin, then it doesn't really matter. But if you don't want him to do the spin, then you gotta wait a little bit after 1%.
Builds for the week. Builds have kind of, I feel like, been all over the place. I think you called it build your own adventure builds.
Yes.
So the build I was running was 6 Molten, 6 Overpower, 6 Predator, 6 Rage, 3 Aetheric Attunement, 3 Berserker, 3 Conduit, and 3 Discipline. The build you were rocking was 6 Molten, 6 Predator, 6 Rage, 3 Aetheric Attunement, 3 Berserker, 3 Conduit, 3 Discipline, 3 Overpower, and 3 Wild Frenzy.
I think Overpower 6 is pretty important because AoEs are bugged right now on the Titan's Crash, and the only thing that's boosted by them is Overpower. All the other damage perks don't help at all with that, unfortunately. If you are going to go for some damage perks, I definitely recommend that.
Yeah, and I agree. I switched to 6 Overpower after a couple of runs. He actually spends quite a bit of time on the ground, and if you're doing the spin boop, he spends even more time on the ground. So I think Overpower is actually quite good this run, and then really just kind of bring in as much other damage as you can fit in. Predator is obviously always welcome. Rage is always welcome. Berserker is always welcome. Rage Hunter. The other thing that you really just need for this week is some kind of fire resistance. Molten, if you want to go Molten. I ended up rocking Fireproof. I think you did the same as well, just to not have to deal with the orbs.
The candies.
Yeah, because they spawn sometimes in like the worst location at the worst time. You can't collect them all. I feel like I end up losing damage overall, honestly, when I bring Molten. The 10% attack speed just isn't worth it anymore to me.
Yeah, it's so tempting to pick them up and mess up your positioning, and then when you do ignore them, you end up burning.
100% agree. Lanterns. Pingar was my go-to. Used also Pingar, but I hear you're now using Drask.
Yeah, the Drask runs are pretty sweaty, pretty spicy.
What's your reasoning for bringing Drask instead of Pingar for the week?
The hold does more damage if the behemoth is long enough, and if you aim it right, and I think Skarn is just in that range of being a long boy.
Yeah, he's not the rotund Shrike.
Yep.
I think I'll probably stick with my Pangar just because the Frost proc, it's so good. Like I said, he spends quite a bit of time on the ground, and the Frost proc causes him to spend even more time on the ground, and the frost damage does not care about his armor.
Yeah, normally the tap on Drask would be more helpful, but again, it's not affecting the AoEs on Titan's Crash, only Overpower is, so it's not quite as spicy. But I think the whole damage can still compete with Pangar, and that's what I'm trying out right now.
Potions for the week. I think it's the 3 boys are back in town. The Overdrive, Frenzy, and Blitz Tonic. Those are your go-to. I don't think it's worth bringing the Stagger Potion. You already get plenty of staggers at good times. Not worth bringing the staggered potion. And if you are struggling with the spin boop and you can't get by with him not doing it, then go ahead and bring boop grenades instead of Aether Drive. But otherwise, I think it's just the classic 3. Viable weapons for the week. Obviously strikers. Hammer definitely viable. Blunt damage does so great versus Skarn. Chain blades I think are definitely viable.
Yeah, I think strikers and hammer are the only thing that can get sub 2 this week. Maybe not even hammer, because the bug I mentioned for Titan's Crash AoEs not scaling with damage also applies to the explosions on Hammer's Aether Slam, and that's a much bigger DPS nerf to hammer than strikers.
That's a large portion of their damage, honestly.
So maybe just strikers, and then Pike and CB and Sword can get sub 3. Oh wait, Revy got a sub 2 Sword, I think, or close to it. Axe is a little yikes.
Yeah, Axe struggles quite a bit with the armor, and with how fast that Skarn is attacking with his Behemoth Blitz is going to be a bit of an issue. I think you could probably get it done, but
The damage is a little too yikes to just resolve spam, I think, with Iceborne. Skarn is the CEO of damage reduction, dude. You're not getting through to him.
Axis is such a bad spot, honestly, as it is, especially for trials. I just don't think it's worth it. Might be viable, but just barely, if so.
Not as yikes as repeaters, though.
I think repeaters could do it, but you have to be so precise with your aim because you have to like aim underneath his armor.
You gotta use your aim key.
Yeah, install your aim bots on this one if you're using repeaters. And the other problem that repeaters are going to run into is you can't boop unless you're rocking weighted strikes, and then I think you still have to do the damage boops.
Yeah, that's so yikes.
Because like when he goes on his hind legs, which is the easiest boop ever, repeaters can't do anything about it unless they have weighted strikes. They can't even boop it with boop grenade. So they can only boop the spin if they bring boop grenades. Once again, I think it's in the same category as Axe, like viable, but you're just better off doing something else. Mistakes in your run or improvements you're looking to make. The run that I posted, I lost Predator for a large portion of the fight. I actually ended the fight with 1 HP, which is the best use of your HP, honestly, because you don't need anything more than 1 HP. But if you're rocking Predator, not ideal.
You just roasted all the Iceborne mains.
I think I could have definitely improved a lot on my run, but I really did not have a lot of time this week, unfortunately.
I don't know. I think like the 120 something range is like the best you can get. I'd be more willing to push if the AoEs weren't bugged, because he almost dies at like the perfect time every time, but then he just keeps on living for an extra 10 seconds.
Yeah, I was kind of really surprised to see that our times were lower than they were last rotation. I even messaged you on Discord when I saw you post a 131. I was like, what? And only a 131 after that striker buff?
Well, it's a slight nerf for elemental trials, but I don't think it would have mattered because Skarn is mostly lantern damage anyways.
And honestly, Skarn is one of the ones that like we actually got quite a big nerf on because of the bug fixes. The clap no longer does true damage to him through his armor.
Wait, did it ever? I thought that was only tough hide.
I think it was in the armor as well, or maybe it was just the Karma Breaker that was on. Karma Breaker definitely was doing true damage through his armor, and it no longer does. Double check.
I'm consulting patch notes. Karma Breaker's damage over time and Titan's Crash now respect the rules of Tough Hide, Heroic Charog, Skarn Rocks, and the Trials modifier. Interesting. So I don't know how he didn't get below 120 before then.
Lanterns are truly just that overpowered, man. Lantern damage.
Easy lantern power, easy life.
I'm going mage build from now on, honestly. I don't even need to hit the behemoth. Just give me fucking lantern charge. I'm going fucking Lucent, dude.
No.
Strategy inside the arena. This is another really kind of brawly fight. For the first bit of the fight where he's out of enrage, pretty much just trying to dodge his attacks and get in damage. Something important to note is he will only do his spin if you're far away from him. So if you're looking to dodge a spin, don't ever be away from him, including when you land in the arena. And if you're looking to bait the spin, just back up a little bit. I'd also like to note here that to interrupt his spin, for anyone that does not know, you're actually trying to strike the ring of rocks around him and not Skarn himself. And when he goes on his hind legs, that's a easy free boop. Once he's in rage, it will always go in this pattern. He'll do his enrage animation, which will send out a shockwave and rocks. And then he will do a slam, which will send out more shockwaves. This slam is on cooldown. In between the cooldown, if you're close enough to his body, he will send out rocks. Usually it's 2 rocks before the cooldown is back up. But if you have Frostproc on him, it will only be 1 rock.
Yep.
Super easy to bait. It's honestly like the most straightforward AI ever. And as long as you know that, it's incredibly easy to deal with his enrage phase.
Yeah, he just cycles through his attacks for like an entire minute. And then he comes out of his shell. If you want him to expose a certain part, you can stand near it and then dodge when he throws out the rocks.
The top runs for the week. I'm thinking for groups, for top 100, I'm thinking like 145, possibly like 140 is right around there is where I'm thinking. The grouping for this week seems pretty darn tight, which is pretty crazy. People are super motivated, which is super awesome to see.
What's it at right now?
It's at 149.
Oh, that's going to get to below 130 for sure.
Hear me out though. So 149, right? 145 starts at 77th spot. 140 starts at 56.
Ooh, people are struggling to break that range, huh?
Yeah. 135 starts at 35. 130 is 21. That's why I'm thinking it's not going to move a lot.
For the cutoff for groups. You're probably right about the 140 since people are struggling to break that range. The gang were saying that they were doing some runs and they were having trouble killing him under 1 minute, even with like sweaty echo strats. So I guess on the opposite end of the spectrum, that's not getting much looser either. It'd probably be tight for like a 50 at best, maybe.
Yeah, top right now is 51 seconds. I think that's a pretty strong hold that they probably have, honestly. Second place is 59. That seems unusually large of a margin right there. So 51 seems extremely secure right now. Top 5 for groups is currently 108. I could definitely see it being like sub 105 though.
I was thinking like 50 to 105 range probably, because those runs are hard to get apparently.
Solos, top 100 right now is 230. It is also so fucking packed in here, dude. So 230 is 100, 225 is 78. I could see it getting down to like sub 215. I don't suspect it'll get much faster than that though.
Yeah, he doesn't like to die.
Top 5 I think is going to be, what do you get? What do you think? Sub 130? You think top 5?
That's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah, I think people can do it.
Top run, trying to unseat Shanks right now, I'm pretty sure, with the 126.
More or less, yeah.
How many pots do you get left?
I don't know. I've just been running on Rams for a little bit now. I was at like 100k. He's at like 60. I'm at 60 right now. I mean, but the Skarn is not dying either.
I think Shanks is secure, man. I think you're going to run out of money.
No. I want crits. He had crits.